Okay, let's have a bit of fun with this. The Fiction Freak is here, and he's here to talk to you about Final Fantasy VII, because he loves it. I just finished my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth playthrough watch, because I didn't play it myself because your boy is too lazy, but I did enjoy it a lot. Have a bit of separation anxiety, to be honest. And in any way, now I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII and its writing, because I've always loved it, and I think it needs to be talked about. So today, we're talking about the themes that are carried by the character arcs of Final Fantasy VII main cast, and we're gonna have a bit of fun with it. So let's talk about the main character first, our spiky blonde boy, Cloud. So, Cloud's character theme is very tied to the main theme of Final Fantasy VII in general, but we're gonna talk about that a bit later. It's tied to the idea of identity. Who are you? Why are you that? Is it the thing that defines who you are? Is it your actions? Is it your body? Is it your memories? How does it feel to lose the person that you are? To lose your identity? How do you recollect it? How to be whole again? Those are the questions that Cloud's character are asking. Cloud's identity is a big stake of the game's mystery, since he's not actually being himself for a good part of the story. Ever since he's been experimented on by Shinra, with Zack by his side, after Sephiroth left them in a bad shape, Cloud suffers from Mako poisoning. When his friend and protector Zack eventually meets his demise, our main protagonist is left with amnesia on his own identity to protect him from the trauma he's been through, coupled with the poisoning. It will take the help of his childhood friend, Tifa, to piece together the puzzle of his past to find who he is again and step out of Sephiroth's manipulation to defeat him. And here we have a good transition to start talking about Tifa. The reason why you don't see a face cam for my analysis of Tifa is because I actually changed my view of the character as I studied for this video. The main theme of Tifa's character arc that I ended up coming up with is the fear of confrontation with people and how to overcome it. During the whole story, Tifa knows that something is wrong with Cloud. She clearly sees that some of the things he says about his past are not coherent, or that he seems very different from the person that she used to know when they were younger. This fear of revealing the truth is, of course, due to a potential confrontation and consequences on her friendship with Cloud, who is the only remnant of her broken past. Her inability to unlock her heart, Tifa Lockhart, get it, will lead to Sephiroth doing it for her, plunging Cloud into a coma. Her arc reaches its peak in the live stream, where she helps Cloud puzzle the pieces of his past back, and she overcomes her fear and faces her and Cloud's past. In a way, Cloud and Tifa's arcs are tied to each other, because they both need each other to face their past, for Cloud to retrieve his identity, and for Tifa to get past her fear. For our big boy Barret, it is about the burden of guilt. And how do you handle it? What coping mechanism do one adopt to escape or carry that guilt? What is the proper way to move on? Is it forgetting? Is it fighting for a redemption? Is it lying to yourself like Barret does so often by pretending he tries to attack Shinra because of the planet? Barret cannot undo the events of Coral, having allowed Shinra to put a reactor there only to be betrayed by the company, killing a lot of townspeople, including his wife and his best friend's wife. After these events, Barret takes the cover of an ecologist activist to take out his hatred on Shinra while carrying the guilt of what happened. Later on, when he finds his best friend dying again, he cannot save him from the madness he spiraled into and understands that some mistakes in life just cannot be fixed, and one has to live with that burden. He, however, has an opportunity to do some good in other aspects to make up for it, like taking care of Dine's daughter Marlene and stopping Sephiroth to save the world. Aerith's character is about sacrifice, fate, destiny, and loneliness. How do you cope with the idea that your fate is central to everyone's fate, but that same fate that you have still dooms you to be alone? How do you handle that? What kind of life lesson do you get away from this? Do you become bitter, or do you remain joyful? Where do you find meaning and appreciation in this life? Is it in the little things? Is it in the big picture? Aerith is the last of the Cetras, an ancient species that could communicate with the planet. As such, she is the only one fated to stop Sephiroth in his planet-destroying plans. Especially in Remake, you can feel that she understands that she's not like the others and destined to fall for the greater good, and that's why she's so full of joy. She appreciates every second she can because she knows her time is running out, and she found people who can alleviate her feelings of loneliness that she faced all her life, being the last of her kind. Another big aspect of Aerith's character theme is of course her death. An event that ties up to the theme of loss and how to move on from it that is very prevalent in the game. On this death, in a way, almost everyone needs to grieve and then find a way to move on. The party members, of course, but also the planet herself, who lost the last of the Cetras who could communicate with her, and, of course, the players, us. For Red 13, it's more about finding out your origin so that it can define who you are now. What if you found out more about where you come from, it could change the whole of who you are, and the whole way you see your life. Red 13 changes drastically as he learns that his father never abandoned him, but sacrificed himself to save him and his tribe. He puts down his shell from that moment and opens himself to become a better person, to honor his father and his legacy and the good role model that he became a symbol of. He now finds purpose in protecting, just like his father did, by trying to stop Sephiroth and saving the planet. To be honest with Yuffie, I don't really know what her character arc is. In Remake, they did give her a little bit of a meaning in the idea of loss, where she loses Sonnen, and then later on she loses Aerith. So I wonder what they're going to do with that, but in the original Final Fantasy VII, it's kind of hard to just find out what is the message with this character. Cait Sith is about the idea of your values not aligning with your life path. What do you do then? Do you change your values to adapt to your life path? Do you fight the same organization that makes you go against your values? Do you try to fight it from the outside? From the inside? What are the possibilities in that dilemma? Reeves is one of Shinra's top employees, but you can clearly see that his values do not align with Shinra's inhuman stances or Machiavellian ways. As such, he joins Cloud's gang to fight Shinra by remaining inside of it, giving an asset to the group and finally aligning his actions with what he truly believes in, under the appearance of Cait Sith. For Cid, it's about moving past your broken dream, or moving on from them, more like. What does one do when their whole hopes and dreams that they've based their entire life on just go to smoke? Do they become bitter and angry? How do they get past that? How do they find a new outlook on life? Because of a technical error that could have caused the death of one of his comrades, Cid chose to stop the project of going to space in order to save that comrade's life, shattering his dreams in the process. That made him angry, bitter, and sad. But as he finds Cloud's group, he can finally find a new purpose to enlighten his days again and to start looking ahead for the first time since his plans were crushed. He even manages to forgive his comrade and understand her perspective for the first time. And for Vincent, his story is about redemption. It's about changing the things that you've done wrong in your past because you've been given a second chance to do so. Unlike someone like Barret, for example, whose theme is more like purely guilt-driven, and he can't change the things that happened in the past. Vincent can. He has an opportunity to do so. Vincent saw the creation of Sephiroth by Hojo and Lucretia, not being able to stop Lucretia from using her own body as experiments. Blaming himself for the illness of the woman he loved and the birth of a monster in Sephiroth, Vincent became dormant to seal himself away, until Cloud and the gang found him, and offered him a chance to right his wrongs by stopping the evil he couldn't stop decades ago. So, as you can see, there are a couple ideas who come back pretty often in these character themes. Two ideas, actually. The idea of loss and the cycle of life and death. The other one is identity. Just like we saw with all those characters, those two ideas come around pretty often in those characters. They come around in the whole game, the whole interaction that you can see. They're the main themes of the game, pretty simply. I hope you enjoyed this little tour of the Final Fantasy VII cast and their writing. It was just a quick tour to have some fun together. Talk about some good writing. Talk about some nice things. Talk about Final Fantasy VII. See you later for another one.